Ferguson Mitchell with ESFI World here, bringing you a recap of the GSL Season 4 finals between I Am MVP and StarTale Life. GSL went Gangnam style this season, taking a trip to Seoul's business district to house an exciting final match. Meeting up in this final are two of the world's best players. First, you have Terran MVP with the best track record in StarCraft 2, who has won an unprecedented 4 GSLs and fought his way to the finals for an attempt at his 5th, despite a pinched nerve in his spine. Then, there is his opponent, StarTale Life, who represents the complete opposite, playing his way to the finals in his first ever GSL appearance. The GSL newcomer Life started strong with great defense protecting him from MVP's Blue Flame Hellion style on Cloud Kingdom. Despite the Hellions wreaking economic havoc on the Zerg Natural, Life fought back, killing off the harassing units and claiming map control. When MVP did eventually push out, Life was able to use his high infestor count to buy time for his Broodlords to pop, which eventually were able to rain down death on the undefended tanks, Hellions, and win Game 1. Life puts his love of Zerglings on display in Game 2, going for fast units to put pressure on the economy of MVP. The 4-time GSL champ made it clear he did his homework and was able to deflect the Zerglings of Life and apply his own pressure with Banshees. Both players began to amass their late game tech and clash midfield, but the Broodlords were easy pickings for the high Viking count of MVP. Life made the best of a losing situation by using Lings to catch the entire Terran ground force off guard and even up the game. The young Zerg saw that MVP's army was almost entirely Vikings and switched to Ultralisks, which easily tore through the Terran and brought the series to 2-0 in favor of Life. MVP would not stay down, and in Game 3 fought back with a 2-factory Blue Flame Hellion build on Antigua Shipyard. This Hellion pressure was able to weaken the mostly Ling force of Life, and eventually pushed into the Zerg Natural to claim 29 drone kills. From there, the Zerg was on life support and eventually submitted once he realized how far ahead the Terran was. On Whirlwind, MVP once again went with this Blue Flame Hellion build, which was seemingly tailor-made to counter Life's heavy Zergling style. The flame-spitting Dune Buggies of Death once again claimed 20 drone kills, devastating the Zerg despite heavy Queen defense. MVP used this economic lead to build up a strong mech force and pounded through the defending Infestors and Roaches to tie the series up 2-2. Abyssal City set the stage for Game 5 as MVP went for a CC first against Life's quick speedling. MVP again went for the Hellion Banshee style similar to Game 2, but this time it was much more successful as he applied pressure with Hellions, Banshees, and Vikings all at once to overwhelm the Zerg. MVP pushed out across the map onto the creep, but Life did not have enough time to stop the slow mech push. By the time the tanks and Thors were in the Zerg Natural, it was all but over, as they laid siege to the Hive and all the important tech buildings, causing the StarTale player to GG. Life, despite being down in this match for the first time, stayed true to his style and went for heavy Ling pressure in spite of MVP's Hellion opening. This time, Life's Lings were much more successful, denying bases and catching units out of position. The Zerg player, knowing he had a huge macro lead, began to build up a flock of Broodlords, which were able to tear apart the ground force due to MVP's Vikings falling to the Corruptors. With that, Life was able to tie the series up and bring it to a final Game 7. Daybreak set the stage for the dramatic final match, as MVP went for the Blue Flame Hellion build once again, while the Zerg went for a 10 pool to deny the early command center. Life seemed to have learned from his mistakes, and this time when the Blue Flame Hellions approached his base, he had Queens and Spines prepared. Despite this good defense, MVP was still able to kill off a few drones with continual run-bys. MVP pushed this advantage and eventually attempted to kill the Zerg 5th, and does, but loses his entire ground army in the process. Life applied pressure with Roaches, keeping MVP on the defensive as he began to spire. Life capitalized on this with quick reinforcements of Roaches to push through the remaining Terran army and finally kills MVP's base. The 4-time champ held out for a bit longer, but Life had a 100 supply lead, leading to a GG from the Terran player. With that, Life becomes the GSL's very first Royal Rotor, meaning he was able to win the GSL in the first tournament he participated in. The 15-year-old StarTale Zerg fought through Code S with an 18-5 record and becomes the youngest champion in GSL history. That'll do it for the Code S finals. Don't forget to check us out on our coverage of next season. For more results and news around esports, find us on Twitter at ESFI World and on the web at esfiworld.com. Until next time, this has been Ferguson Mitchell with ESFI World.